to another episode of the Sports Talk Eli podcast. Great to have you guys with me for another episode of Sports Talk Eli. We're gonna do some more recaps of the NBA playoffs. I want to talk about the Scottie, Pippen, and Kevin Durant situation. I want to talk to you guys about the Marv Albert retiring and his significance in the field that I'm trying to work in. And I want to also talk to you guys about some of the coaching hires in the NBA. So with further ado, if you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoy the content, please feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Sports Talk Eli YouTube channel. If you're streaming this on the many podcast apps that I plan on throwing this on, thank you very much. Great to have you and welcome you to the Sports Talk Eli Army. That is very small and I'm trying to grow. So, let's start the show. Before I do dive into my topics, I should also talk about another thing that's kind of serious. It's not a sports related topic, it's more of a life related topic. Just want to shout out Raiders defensive tackle. I'm telling his name real quick. Hold on. Carl Nassib. See, I kept saying Gary Nassib and blah. I want to shout out Raiders defensive tackle Carl Nassib for coming out as gay. Hopefully we move towards a world where if you come out, then it's just like, oh, okay, cool, he's gay. That's great. And it isn't breaking news. And I'm glad that it is more widely accepted today. I appreciate people who walk a different life compared to me. I respect it. And it's great that he came out and he finally felt comfortable to get that monkey off his shoulder. So hopefully more people follow that suit. And just know if you do, you're loved. You're loved. Anyhow, let's dive into some sports. So tonight is game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I predicted that the Bucks would take game 1. However, Hawks point guard Trae Young had other plans. Trae Young is on a great playoff run. The Atlanta Hawks is on this crazy playoff run. And I think it's time to admit this. Trae Young is a top 5 point guard in the NBA. Basing on this playoff run, if we say that, oh, yeah, he puts up 29 points and 8 assists in a regular season, but can he do it in the playoffs? He's doing it in the playoffs, folks. He's doing it in the playoffs. And usually that playoffs is where your name is made. His name is being made right now. He's doing some great things in the NBA playoffs. And mind you, he wasn't an all-star this year. He wasn't voted into the all-star game at all this year. And look at him now, playing in the conference finals. In game 1, Trae Young put up 48 points, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds on some really good shooting splits. He's also had help from guys like John Collins, who chipped in 23 and 15, Clint Capella, who had 19 rebounds, playing like a big boy in that paint. And this Hawks team is on such a fun ride that it's so fun to watch, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't think they can beat the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Bucks is just a better team overall. However, they can take another game. This Hawks team can take another game. Could potentially take it to 7. I know I said Bucks in 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take it to 7. The way they keep winning on the road is just crazy too. For the Bucks, I think it's time to play Giannis at the center. They can't keep playing Brook Lopez because he's getting killed in the pick and roll. Whenever Trae Young runs that pick and roll, Brook Lopez can't keep up. And I like Splash Mountain, but he's a defensive liability. Playing Giannis at the 5, you have your best defensive player guarding the best perimeter player, so why not? Drew Holiday also has to do a better job defensively on Trae Young too. It's no reason why an all defensive caliber player in Drew Holiday should have let Trae Young come up in there and almost have 50 points. It's very, very, very concerning. Budenholzer, if he wants to keep his job, because I know he's on the hot seat too, If the Bucks would have lost to Brooklyn, he would have been out that door, for sure, for sure. Budenholzer has to make some adjustments if he expects to beat this Hawks team to go to the NBA Finals. Middleton also has to play better, in my opinion. He has too many games where he'll put up his 20 points, put up his 30 points, but he'll have a game where he just disappears. And I understand players going cold shooting streaks, but he has to play better. It's the NBA playoffs. You have to step up when the moment is the brightest. And right now, there's no moment brighter than the NBA playoffs. Trae Young stepped up. So where you at? Where you at, Chris Middleton? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? We looking for you, bro. Where you at? All right, so I want to also shout out Marv Albert, who's one of my inspirations, of the reason why I want to do sports journalism. He's considerably one of the greatest to ever do it. He's had a 59-year career. Tonight will be his last game he ever calls, an NBA game. He called NFL games for NBC. He worked for MSG Network. He called Knick games. Marv Albert is one, like I said, the greatest to ever do it. He's a legend. Cheers to you, my friend. This is an imaginary wine glass. Congrats on the retirement, my friend. Now, next up, I want to talk to you guys about last night's game between the Suns and the Clippers. The Clippers beat Phoenix in Game 3 of the NBA Western Conference Finals. And Chris Paul came back, but it seemed like him and CP Sim and Devin Booker struggled for most of the game, which was very, very surprising. But one person who didn't struggle was playoff P himself, Paul George. Now, I remember the jokes of us calling him way off P, and he probably would have had a hot seat on the Shanghai Sharks right now if he didn't play well. But he stepped up when they needed him the most, specifically once Kawhi went down. And I respect it. The Clippers are getting great play from guys like Rich Jackson, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris. Zubac is getting killed by DeAndre Ayton, so we're not going to talk about him. We're not going to talk about him. DeAndre Ayton too much of a big boy for him to guard him in the paint. But if the Clippers want to keep up and they want to win the series, they're going to need Kawhi Leonard back. Going to say black. They're going to need Kawhi Leonard back if they want to win this series. If Kawhi doesn't come back, then pretty much Suns in 6 or Suns in 7, in my opinion. But it really shows that Kawhi Leonard is needed. Because if they had Kawhi in game 1 or 2, they'd probably win one of those games on the road, in my opinion. Kawhi is that good. He's that much of a difference maker that he would have won one of those games. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how the rest of this series between the Bucks and the Hawks unfold, and how the rest of the series between the Suns and the Clippers unfold as well. Gonna end this first segment off with discussing these 2 coaching hires in the NBA. First, Jason Kidd is now the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, there's some history there. Jason Kidd got drafted to the Mavericks. He was their point guard during their 2011 finals run that everybody seems to love. Everybody seems to love that 2011 Mavericks team, maybe because they beat the Heat, maybe because J.J. Barea was giving it to LeBron James. And I'm not that sold on Jason Kidd as a coach simply because of his time in Milwaukee and how Bucks fans want him out of the door. But I'm interested to see what he can do and how can he contribute to Luka's career. Also, you also want to think about the fact that most coaches in the NBA, whenever they get an all-star player, an all-star caliber player to the quality caliber of Luka Doncic, they're just that pat in their resume. Like, okay, you coached a legendary, potentially Hall of Fame caliber player. I can't speak today. I'm so sorry. It just looks good on your resume. Pretty much, that's what it is. But, I'm going to keep an open mind. Hopefully, he does some things. Hopefully, he gets Kristaps Porzingis back on track. Hopefully, Mark Cuban goes out and makes some moves that make them become a title contender in the Western Conference. Don't waste Luka's prime years We know what happened when a franchise wastes a superstar caliber player prime years in the NBA. They ask for trades. We don't want that. We don't want that. If I'm Mark Cuban, I want Luka to be a for lifer in Dallas. So yeah, pretty much that's it. The Indiana Pacers have hired former Mavericks coach Rick Carlisle. Now they signed him to a 4-year deal, which is pretty massive. I know Carlisle was the head coach of the Pacers back in the day, specifically during that there was Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Meta, Senglaze, World Peace, Artest, whatever he goes by now. I know the man got like 50 different names. The Malice in the Palace days. I know he was their head coach during that time. I'm excited to see. I think he's gonna get the most out of Sabonis, out of Miles Turner, out of Malcolm Brogdon, out of T.J. Warren when he gets back. Unless they shake up the roster and decide to rebuild, and they try to get in the lottery next year, I think he should be doing some really good things to elevate that roster. That they've been in the middle of the NBA for so long, and that like good enough to make the playoffs, not good enough to be a title contender. Since after their like little playoff, we're going to the finals, we're best team in the league, Roy Hibbert, Paul George team days. So I'm excited to see what can Carlisle do, what type of things he can bring to the table in terms of trying to elevate that to get the most out of that team, to get them to be more than just go to the playoffs every year. And also, Sabonis is one of the best players in the NBA. That's another guy who, if you're a Pacers fan, do you want to waste his prime? Do you want to get him to that next level, becoming an elite, considered to be an elite power forward? And you want to see if he can be the guy who can take you to a championship, especially if you have a guy of his caliber who showed you some all-star potential and maybe could show you some superstar potential. Maybe you want to bring in a coach that's going to elevate him. And maybe Carlisle is that guy. He did great things with Dirk. He did great things originally in Indiana back in the days. So why not? Why not? Let's see what happens. Like I said, I'm excited to see what Jason Kidd can bring to Dallas and what my main man Rick Carlisle can bring to the Indiana Pacers. All right, so I think that does it for today's episode of the SportsTalk Eli podcast. Like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe. And if you're streaming this on a mini podcast I plan on doing this on, thank you very much. We out. Peace. And we're back. So, Scottie Pippen in an interview with GQ. We know Scottie Pippen, Bulls legend Scottie Pippen, possibly one of the greatest small forwards to ever play the game, 6-time NBA champion. We all know about Scottie Pippen. If you watch The Last Dance, then you definitely got a better understanding of who this guy is. He did an interview recently with GQ. And in his interview, Scottie Pippen said some things about some of the current players in the NBA. Now, specifically, I want to talk about what he said about Kevin Durant. Now, some of this can tie into the fact that older players just don't like seeing current players succeed. I don't know what is in their blood that they don't like the current players in the NBA. They're like carrying the ball that you decided to give up when you retired. I don't know. It's just something in the water when it comes to older players in the NBA hating on some of the newer generation. But I'm gonna read you guys Scottie Pippen's quote. KD can score better than LeBron. Probably always have been able to. But has he surpassed LeBron? Nah, Pippen said. He tried to beat the Milwaukee Bucks instead of utilizing his team. You see what I'm saying? LeBron would have figured out how to beat them, and he wouldn't have been exhausted. He may have taken the last shot. But LeBron ain't KD, and KD ain't LeBron. KD is a shooter, a scorer, but he doesn't have what LeBron has. So, a few things to take away. He's comparing LeBron and KD. two of the best players in the NBA. He's saying that Kevin Durant doesn't have the winner's mentality that LeBron has. Debatable. We can say that we don't like Kevin Durant because he decided to leave OKC to go to Golden State. One thing we can't deny is that Nets roster, when Harden and Irvin went out, was putrid. You got guys like Mike James, Bruce Brown, and out of his prime Blake Griffin. Is those are the guys you want to rely on to win in the playoffs? No. Kevin Durant, I believe in Game 5 or Game 6, one of those games, he played every single minute. He dropped 48 points, and he won them the game. Kevin Durant is that good. To put up damn near a 50-point triple-double is really, really impressive. Really, 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 really impressive. To say that, he doesn't have what LeBron has, maybe you're right, Scottie. But this hate between some of the newer generation, slandering some of the new generation in the NBA is ridiculous. Because Scottie Pippen, he did some dirt back in the day too. I think KD responded bringing up the time he sat out because Phil didn't drop a last shot for him. Granted, that was 1994. Michael Jordan wasn't there. Scottie had a really great season. I think he finished third in MVP voting that year. That's the year Hakeem Olajuwon won MVP, if I'm correct. I believe it's that year. I know David Robinson won it the next year. Then it was Mike. Then I think Karl Malone. I don't know. I could be wrong. I gotta look into the archives. But the fact of the matter is this. Older players in the NBA, y'all gotta stop with this hate to the newer generation. Fans like myself, we love the NBA. We love the history of the sport. You tarnishing, disrespecting some of the newer generations is just corny in my opinion. And it has to stop. It's ridiculous. Shaq does it every week on television. Every week. Like, I remember when he said that stuff about Donovan Mitchell. Maybe it was to light a fire under Donovan Mitchell, who is easily one of the best shooting guards in the league. But again, you're saying this about one of the best shooting guards in the league on national television after he just won them a game. It makes no sense. It's ridiculous. Kevin Durant is indeed one of the best players in the NBA without a doubt. And when it's all said and done, there's a nice warm spot for him in Springfield. He's probably first ballot in my opinion. He didn't have the necessary help it took to win that game. If Harden and Kyrie is healthy, Brooklyn wins that game. They're probably playing against Atlanta tonight. There's probably a playoff game in Brooklyn right now. Well, getting ready to happen in a couple hours. Mike Budenholzer would be fired. Scottie, I love you, bro. But those backhanded comments ain't cool, and it ain't good for the league. It's not good for the league. You should be an ambassador. Older players in the NBA should be ambassadors. You should say, hey, this kid is great. He's one of the best players in the league. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Not just, he doesn't have what LeBron takes. He doesn't have what LeBron is. Who knows if LeBron would have won that game in Milwaukee against the Bucks if it was him and not Kevin Durant. LeBron would have definitely balled out too. LeBron would have definitely had that 50-point triple-double as well because he's just that good. But it's hard to do it by yourself in the NBA playoffs. It's really, 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 really hard. That's why I wasn't really too mad when Kevin Durant decided to go to Golden State. Because I know it's probably really, really hard to win a championship. And especially it's really, really hard when the coach doesn't know how to draw up creative offenses, when you have maybe not the best sidekick in the world. I know Russ is really an elite caliber player, and I know how it looks like we just beat you guys. But if you feel like you can go win a championship, do it. Do it. We attack these guys all the time, and we say, he didn't win a championship. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So when he decides to go win himself a championship, it's a problem? No. Do what you want. Your legacy is in your own hands, literally. For any NBA superstar, Zion Williamson, Luka Doncic, if they decided to leave, Jason Tatum, if they decided to say, I don't like what you're doing here. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like the decisions you're making. I don't like anything what's going on. Especially with Boston, who their general manager just stepped down, and now Brad Stevens is the GM. If they don't bring a coach that maybe vibes with Tatum, you do understand that it's his choice to leave, right? It's his choice to leave. All the players in the NBA, these guys aren't like you guys. In fact, if anything, you should be happy that they're stepping up and having more controls of their careers in their hands. That's what I gotta say about that topic. Now we're ending today's episode of the SportsTalk Live podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube or streaming on the mini podcast that's upon on doing this on, thank you. If you like the video, please subscribe. I'm out. See you guys next time.